Okay, everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started. Hopefully some more people will join us as we get going. Going to try to keep it short today and allow as much time as possible at the end for the Q&A. That seems to be the most popular part of these webinars. Right now, I'm just going to go ahead and get started with a quick overview of Build My Rank and kind of walk you through the pipeline of how a post gets uploaded and how the overall process works from start to finish. So here you can see my chart of the overall Build My Rank process. This is the flow of work from the process of creating a project, adding a domain. Once you add the domain to your account, the domain is reviewed by one of our moderators. Of course, we have our domain acceptance guidelines posted in full on the site, but this is a short list of the general types of sites that we don't allow. And what that means for you is that your links to your site will never be next to a link to like a gambling site or an adult site. We just simply do not allow any domains like that to be promoted on the network, and that's one of the chief reasons Build My Rank is so successful, is because we maintain a high standard of outbound linking. And as most of you probably know, Google pays a lot of attention to the outbound links and whether you're linking out to bad neighborhoods, so we try to avoid that. Once your domain is approved, you can then begin uploading posts. You can upload up to 10 posts per domain per day. Each post or article is reviewed by one of our moderators. We do some programmatic or machine moderation, looking for duplicate content that's out on the web. We also have some programmatic ways of detecting spun content, but still the majority of our articles and posts still get reviewed by a human being, where we check for grammar, make sure it's readable. We're looking for content that really is native English, not a lot of missing words. We look to make sure the content is relevant to the link or to the site that's being linked to. We check to make sure the content isn't overly spammy. We don't like to see random words boldly formatted in the text of a post or italics used. We don't want to see any contact information within the content, and we overall just look to make sure the post is something that looks natural and readable to a human. So once a post is accepted, while it's being moderated, you'll see that as a pending status in your dashboard or in your on your post or project page. Once it is queued, that status will change to queued, and it goes into our distribution queue. From that point, we will randomly select one of our Build My Rank sites. And when I say randomly select, any post, once it's been accepted, has as much of a chance as any other post to be put on a PR1 or a PR6 site. We just look. We get a lot of questions about, well, how can I make my post better or increase my chances of getting on a higher page rank site? Well, if it meets our minimum requirements and makes it to the queue, that's all we ask. From there, it's just randomly distributed. We do, however, remove the last 1,000 sites that a domain has been submitted, or that a post has been submitted to, or domain has been submitted to, so that you don't get multiple post on the same Build My Rank domain. Even with our power users and the rate we increase our network, we find that this simple step cuts down a lot of the duplicate posting. Very few times will we have an instance where a domain gets more than one post on a Build My Rank site. Once we publish to our site, we immediately ping a random selection of RSS aggregators and social bookmark sites. This starts off maybe at 20 to 25, and we'll ping consistently until we see that the post is indexed. So you may get as many as 100 links to a post just from social bookmarking and Web 2.0 properties, depending on how long it takes to index. Now, if the post is indexed immediately, there may only be 20 or 25 links built for it. That's the main reason we do this. And most of you probably have seen that these social bookmarking and Web 2.0 properties, these links aren't really sticky. They tend to stay in Google for maybe a few days to a few weeks. So if you're checking a month or two later, with the exception of maybe Twitter and a few, maybe Dig or something like that, you're unlikely to see a lot of these links in a third-party tool or even in the Google index. So that's pretty much the process. Once that happens, you're on the front page of a authoritative BuildMyRank site, and you're receiving link juice. Now, we do structure our sites to where PageRank flows naturally throughout the site. We don't restrict Google in any way. So even when your article moves off the front page, there's still authority passing naturally from the front page on through. We do that, for one, to make our sites look natural, just like any other site. But it also benefits you because you're getting that anchor text link, and it tends to stay indexed for a much longer period of time. So that covers the process. And by the way, be sure to utilize the Q&A button in the top left of your screen. As I'm going, if you have any questions or want me to go back and cover something again, like I said, I'm going to kind of go through this at a pretty quick rate. But definitely, if you see something that you want covered in more detail, just pop in a question on the Q&A. We'll also be recording this for review later, and we'll post that up at the Build My Rank blog. So let's take a look. Go ahead and jump into the dashboard. This is my own account. I started this probably, I don't know, 3 weeks ago. Have a little headache site that I've been building links to. Also have some easy article sites, YouTube pages. But you can see this is pretty familiar to most of you. You have the, of course, we have a system message here. We show the number of posts, distributed posts in the last 30 days, and how many pending and queued posts you have, your top keywords for the month, your top keywords for the last 12 months, get a little pie chart of your PageRank distribution, and you have a post indexing rate. A few things about the post index rate. We do get a lot of questions on this chart because it is a little confusing because we purposely keep a 2-week delay on it because we like to give at least 2 weeks for our posts to be indexed. And generally, about 50% of our posts are indexed within the first 2 weeks. 50 to 60%, I believe, is the last figure I calculated. But so we like to give that enough time, and we purposely put a delay on that. And in addition, our system is only checking posts every 3 to 5 days. So this is really, it's a nice guide. It's helpful to look at this. But ultimately, you're going to want to check your post using the find function if you have an immediate need to see where your post is or if it's indexed. Started over on our project tab, you can see that I have 4 of my 5 allowed domains. Always have the upgrade option here. And I also have 3 archived domains in my account. If I want to show archive domains, I can just click that button, and you can see that now I have a plus sign next to all of my projects, and any previously archived domains are showing. So I had my example.com domain that was archived. I can now go ahead and click it here, and that will start counting towards my project limit again. You can also expand to just show all the domains like so, and that will automatically drill down your project and let you browse all of the domains that are currently active in your account. One thing while I've got this open, you can see I've got some YouTube. I've got YouTube and Easing Articles as sites. That's perfectly acceptable. We allow a variety of authoritative article sites and Web 2.0 properties like YouTube and Twitter, Squidoo, hub pages. There's a lot of them. With most of them, the process is you just enter the top-level domain or the root domain as your domain, and it gets automatically approved. You don't have to wait for a moderator in that case. Now, when I want to build links to that page, I'll just add that as a link to my domain, or just put the link in the post, and it should go through fine. With a regular site, it's the same way. You want to go ahead and put your top-level domain and link to your inner pages. There's really no difference. The only difference is that with your own sites, if it's new to the system, there will be maybe an 8 to 12 hour delay while it goes through the queue and one of our reviewers moderates it. And we'll check it for those acceptance guidelines that I mentioned earlier. If it is rejected, we'll offer a reason, and you can, and usually they'll offer, say, well, you need to add a few more pages of unique content, or if you're linking to another site within your account. We see people trying to do that a lot, usually not on purpose. It's usually pretty harmless, but for us, we don't like to see your domains all linked together because that poses a footprint risk for us in our network. So we'll ask you to remove those links before we approve it. But generally, you want to have at least 3 to 4 pages of unique content. If you're a made for AdSense site or an Amazon affiliate, something like that, we're going to look for probably closer to 5 to 6 pages of content. We find that those sites are scrutinized a little bit heavier by Google, so we have to kind of move our guidelines as Google moves theirs. So just be aware that the minimum 3 to 4 pages may not apply for certain niches or certain types of sites. We may ask for more. So let's take a look. One thing with archive, once you archive, make sure that you don't have any queued posts for the domain if you choose to archive it, because they'll not go out. They'll just stay in the queue forever if you archive your domain. So if you do need to archive, that's fine. Just make sure all of your work is done. And we have users that have a 5-domain account but 50 domains in their account, and that's fine. We don't care. The system will just let you have the 5 active. Just make sure you're managing properly so that you don't wind up with 50 queued posts and for 2 months and wonder what happened. So let's take a look. Most of our functions occur for domains at the Edit Domain page. You can see we've got our status. If you ever need to pause work on a domain, if you've made a mistake or you had a writer upload something, the wrong links, and you catch it, just hit Edit Domain and pause that, and that will stop any posts from going out and give you a chance to go in and fix any mistakes that happened. We do get that occasionally. People, they'll have a writer make a mistake or link to the wrong thing, and or include the wrong anchor text, and they'll want to go fix that. And that's how you do it. This information can be changed as well. You can shift sites to different projects if you want. You can change the category around. The domain URL, again, keep this as a top-level domain, just like that. You can add your inner links down here at the bottom. If I want to interlink, I just link to my inner page. Add my anchor text. I can save that. One thing, we do have you can sort these into groups, and this is just for additional organization if you want to sort these pages or anchor text into their own little groups. So you can see my inner page, my anchor text. You don't even have to do this unless you plan on outsourcing your post through buildmyrank. If you just want to add the links straight on the post page via the HTML function, that's fine. You do not have to add them to this point. I kind of like this because it helps me keep a visual aid, and if I want to use tags to kind of organize these, I can. Just helps me keep track. There's also a bulk function here where I can upload multiple keywords at once, and you separate those with a pipe. One thing, daily post limit. The default, I believe, is random. Random means that we'll distribute anywhere from 1 to 10 posts per day for that domain, no matter how many you have in your queue. One, we'll distribute just one. The ranges, we'll randomly pick that range. So if I've got it set at 7 to 10, that means we'll distribute anywhere between 7 and 10 per day, and we'll just randomly select a number. That adds a little bit of makes it look a lot more natural if you're using a range. If you do want to max out every single day, then scheduled is what you're going to want to select, and that will give you an opportunity once you've uploaded a post to go back and set a schedule. That has to be done manually, or you can set your schedule via the batch import function, and we'll show you a little bit on that as well. The last feature on this page is to add media to post. Again, these question marks are tooltips. You can hover over those if you've got any questions about these later on. But with add media to post, we will go ahead and select a YouTube video or an image to add to your post. And we do that just with a simple keyword analysis of the content of the post, and then we'll go search for an appropriate video or image. That works probably perfectly 90%, 95% of the time. What happens with a lot of people, you know, if you're an SEO agency and you've got a client that has certain requirements, they may not want their post associated with a competitor video. That seems to be the most common mistake we see with these, is that, oh, I don't want my competitor's video. Well, we don't search for, we don't remove competitors from our search. It's just a simple keyword query. So if you have a client, or if you yourself have requirements about what type of videos or images are shown that goes beyond just a keyword match, then you'll want to deselect this option and just add those posts, or add those images or videos on your own. And we have a simple tool on the in the editor to do that. So once I've added my domain or made any changes, you know, don't forget to hit submit to make sure those changes are saved. And we'll have a quick rundown here of all of the current status of this domain. This page will also show you any outsource hosts that are awaiting a review as well. So let's take a look at the post page. This is a page you'll be visiting a lot. It gives you a snapshot of all of your posts that are currently in the system. You can sort by the title, the writer, the created, scheduled, published, the page rank, indexed, all of these. You can search by your keywords if you want to do that. The filters are also great. You can just look at all of your live posts. You can just look at the domain of any one of, or any of the posts of just one domain, and you can also just look at any of your specific writers that have contributed to your account. You can also filter these by publish date. The find function over here allows me, I can click that, and that will take me through to a Google query. We do run that through a proxy so as not to, you know, alert Google that we're querying from BuildMyRank. We don't want to leave any additional footprints, unnecessary footprints. But we do get a lot of questions about the ability to export or any reports. We don't offer any reports for the links that are built. This is really the only way we offer to find that information. We post the index rate and different metrics on your dashboard. You can find the links individually. using this function. We do have a lot of power users that tend to just hire somebody to look through their index post. However you manage it, that's up to you. We are working on adding some export functions to where you can export some of the data from this page to get some keyword analysis, see how many keywords you've been building, what your average page rank is for specific keywords, things like that. That's part of the upgrades that we'll be rolling out prior to reopening for subscriptions. So you've got three functions at the very top of our post page. We can write a post, import post, or outsource post. Let's go ahead and click post. So this is pretty straightforward. I can select my domain. This domain is set to schedule. So at this point, I have the opportunity to go ahead and set my schedule date. The default is at least 24 hours, but I will tell you right now, we've been under a pretty heavy load. So if you're scheduling posts, I would set it a couple of days ahead of time to give your post a chance to be moderated. We're running about 36 to 48 hours on our moderation right now. So just to be on the safe side, if you're scheduling, set it for about 48 hours away, 2 days. From here, you just add your title. It needs to be at least 5 words long. I find that unique titles work best, especially if you're looking to see where your post is indexed. A lot of times, if your title is unique enough, it's just easier. You can just search the title of your post and find where we've published it. Our post editor, pretty straightforward if you worked with any of these type of editors, these web-based editors in the past. It's not perfect. You'll want to utilize a spell checker. The spell checker is okay in this one, but you'll definitely want to utilize one in Word or something like that. Just remember, if you're pasting from another editor, that you'll want to paste in plain text to avoid adding any strange characters or having any encoding issues. We do come across that occasionally if people are pasting directly from Word and not selecting that export as text option, then likely to get some stray characters in there. If you want to add media, we have our media buttons here. You can put an image URL or upload the image. Same with YouTube. You just need to put the short URL in there, and we'll add that image to the post. The great thing about adding your links is that if you've added your links on the domain page, you can just insert those at any point in the post. And you saw that little hiccup there. That is the autosave. About every 5 seconds that you're actually typing anything in the body area here, the editor, we'll go ahead and autosave that. If you find that that is causing issues with your browser, we've tested this on as many browsers as we can, but if your system doesn't like the autosave, just deselect that. So at this point, I can submit or add another, or save and return. I'm just going to save this one. Our next link here is the import post. This is great if you're a power user, or if you just want to kind of fire and forget, just uploading maybe 20 to 50 posts at a time. You can do it this way. You can download our template, just add your post to the spreadsheet, make sure you have your HTML properly formatted, and then upload the spreadsheet. I do have a video posted on the knowledge base that steps you through this in a lot more detail than what we're going to cover today, but it's pretty easy to use. We have a lot of great feedback on this, and if you have any errors, the system will let you know. problem is. And if you have an error just with a few of the posts that you're uploading, it will only kick the ones with errors out. So you only have to fix the rows that have a problem. It will keep all the other ones. So, but also pretty straightforward. You just select your domain, choose your spreadsheet file locally. If you have a header row, be sure to click this selection so that we don't import that one, and then click upload, and that's it. If your post doesn't meet the word requirement, if your links are malformed, or if your title is too short, you'll get an error message telling you to fix those problems. Next is outsourcing posts. We're going to have a more advanced seminar on this next week. This is the last of our basic walkthroughs since we are currently closed to new memberships and new subscriptions. We're going to start having webinars with some more advanced topics. Certainly if you want to see us cover any specific topics in more detail, go over to our blog, and we have a blog post, at least one blog post a week. Just leave us a comment, and we'll add that to the list of topics to cover. Next week, though, we are going to go through the outsource post function in detail and show you some tricks on project management and managing outsourcers, and even probably go through some tips on managing, your own internal writers. We don't particularly care if you buy posts from us or if you're outsourcing them on your own. Our concern is with quality, so however you choose to manage it, we want to make sure you have all the tools available. If I'm outsourcing posts, like everything else, I'm going to select my domain, and I'm going to request the links. By default, our writers are going to do 150-word posts for each keyword. So if you want to have a post with multiple keywords, this is where you change it. So right there, I can copy that down as this is. If I submitted this order, they're going to write 3 posts, each with my keyword and URL that's listed. So I'll get 1 post with example text going to example.com. I'll get 1 post with more example text and 1 post with my anchor text. Now, if I want 1 post with all of those, I'll uncheck that. And if I want multiple posts, I just change the number here, and that's going to give me 4 posts, each with those 3 keywords. We have the option of reviewing posts before distribution. I really recommend doing that, just so that you can get especially in the beginning, you don't have to do it with every outsource order, but certainly your first few orders, to get a feel of what type of level of writing you're going to get from our freelancers or our internal writers, and see if that's going to work for your objectives. A lot of times, again, just like with adding media randomly, certain companies and certain agencies may have their clients may have certain requirements. If you're an agency and you have a client that has specific requirements about how their content is handled, then you're going to want to review that and make sure we're doing the right thing. Of course, you can always add writer instructions up to 250 characters. Really, just keep this simple. Our writers handle a pretty high volume of posts, so you really do want to keep the instructions just as concise as possible, and that'll make everyone's life a lot easier. So, but once that's done, you can then just submit that, and as you can see, I don't have any credits in my account, so it's going to want me to add post credits, which I have a link to up here. Notice up at the top, our completion time for post is generally 6 to 10 days. Some of them may be quicker, but please keep that in mind when factoring in your campaign and link building strategy, that there's going to be at least a 6 to 10 day delay before those posts will be submitted to your account for review. When they are submitted to your account and you've selected the option to review, you'll get a notice on your dashboard to go review those posts and to tell you what domain they're for as well. So let's go ahead and look at the writers page real quick. This is pretty simple as well. It's something I think is really important if you've got your own writers submitting on your behalf. I certainly recommend using this rather than giving your credentials out to someone. For one thing, we don't like to see any account sharing, and we don't want your account to get flagged for that. But more importantly, this allows you to individually monitor your writers and look at their approval rate. So you want to keep your approval rate as high as possible. We do flag accounts who have an approval rate below 85%. And if you start falling below 85, you could find yourself getting banned. We do give everyone a chance to improve, but this is one way you can make sure that you don't find your account in that situation. If you've got writers working, go ahead and give them a writer account if they don't already have one, and you can monitor their post individually here. And if you see someone falling below, really, there's no reason not to be 95% or better. If you see someone falling below that, I would start coaching them or find another writer. It's real simple to add a writer. If I just click a new writer link, if they do not already have an account, you can create one for them here by entering their name, email, username, give them a password, and we'll send an email to them with their username and password for them to log in. It also have the writer URL login for them as well. You can also go ahead and sign them projects from this point. Now, if you're hiring a writer off of Odesk or Freelancer or something, and they say they've already got an account, you just enter their email here and just tab over, and the rest of that will go away, and you can just add their projects. Of course, we make you click this here. Just a reminder that even though they're submitting on your behalf, you're still responsible for the content and for monitoring your writers. We give you the tools to use to do that and expect you to keep the quality under control. Our next tab is just the Messages tab. If if you see that icon, and see I had a number 1 up there, that means we sent you a message. This is just an administrative message. It could be an issue with one of your writers. It could be an issue with a post or a keyword that you may be promoting that we need to talk to you about. But definitely pay attention to these. If we send one that's important and it's relevant to your account, and this is where you'll find it. And the last tab is our support links, feature requests, and a variety of the different resources. I encourage all new users to go through the FAQ, make sure you read the post and domain acceptance guidelines and the membership and billing policy. And if you do have any questions, please use the ticketing system and submit a ticket to us. If you currently have an account, that's the quickest way to get our attention, and we try to get to those tickets as quickly as possible. So I'm going to wind up the walkthrough point. That about covers everything. Again, this is our last basic walkthrough that we're going to have from this point on. We'll still do a Friday walkthrough at 11 a.m. every Friday, but we're going to be covering a lot of more advanced topics. So if you want to see us cover anything in additional detail, we'll be doing that every week. And I'm going to get to the Q&A real quick and see what we